All right, everybody, can I get a drum roll, please? Ladies, are you an entrepreneur that is overwhelmed? You need to get out of one-to-one and hours for dollars. Has your messaging become boring or vanilla? Do you need to build a team? Do you need to have a more clear message to start up-leveling your game and attracting the right clients? Let's get honest. Do you need to get your shit together with your systems and your structure? Do you need to go from a solopreneur to an entrepreneur and hire a team and have help? Do you need to boss up? Do you need to quit treating your business like a hobby, for gosh sakes? Do you want to learn how to make a passive and leveraged income? And quite honestly, who wouldn't want this? But would you like to make more money and work less? If the answer to any of those was hell yes, then you need to get your butt to the once a year Front Seat Life event. It is streamlined, up-leveled, less hoopla, more connection, and it is in the gorgeous downtown Seattle in beautiful September here in Seattle at the Sheraton Grand, September 19th, 20th, and 21st. Thursday night, we're having a party. Friday, I am going to just give every single bit of content to you. No fluff, no bullshit, no hoopla. Just all amazing content and connection and just high level. And then Saturday, we will meet for a half a day. You get to connect with high-level entrepreneurs. You get to be where the action is at. So you might meet somebody in that room that is going to change your life. Get your butt there. Tickets are ridiculously inexpensive. Grab a friend, get yourself here. The room rates are fantastic. You are not going to regret this. I know what you're thinking. I may not be qualified. I don't need this. Let me tell you, 1 year from now, you're going to be in the exact same stuck spot in your job if you don't make this decision now. It is affordable. It's enough days for you to get away. Tell your spouse, tell whoever's in your life, I am going to go do this for myself so that I can finally start taking my business seriously. That's it, friends. Get yourself there. The link to come join us in Seattle is in the show notes, or go over to jessicabutts.com. A pop-up will pop up. It will be the simplest thing you've ever done. There's no digging. You don't have to find it. Go to jessicabutts.com, get yourself enrolled. And I cannot wait to hug you and see you and talk directly to you. It's a small, intimate group, and we will be able to connect, and it will be the best decision you've made in your business in a very, very, very long time, or ever. See you there. Everybody, it is an exciting episode. As I have been doing for the past 6 weeks, I have these wonderful, amazing clients coming in and talking to us about their experience through these 8 stages of this girl boss. And today's is about connection versus transaction. And there is absolutely nobody better. I mean, it was like the most clear decision of probably all of these, of which client this would be. And this is the beautiful, amazing Stacy Sorgen. So welcome.
Thank you.
Stacy is an INFP. Quite sensitive, quite lovely, quite connection. I mean, it's all about that for you. And so the reason I wanted to have you on and talk about the connection versus transaction in social media, in business, and get acquainted calls and how we are running our business is because, again, you come from this place of it's all about being of service to other people. And I know as your coach, watching you, how much this has changed your business. So talk to us a little bit about your business, who you are, and then how this has worked for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
So I'm Stacy Sorgen. I am the owner of Stacy Sorgen Coaching and Mod Body Fitness. I started in this realm about 9 years ago, but I've been a mentor and a coach for a long time before that, probably 12 years. And, I just got to a place when I felt kind of stuck, and I had a lot of gifts, but I didn't know how to give them to people in the best way. And that's when I found Front Seat Life, and I found the Girl Boss Coaching Group, and then the Lady Boss Group, and my business has exploded. It has exploded like 3 times, 3x over this last 2 years that we've been working together.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm really proud and honored to be here today to talk a little bit about the gifts that I had and how you helped me to fine-tune those, to like sharpen the blade, to be able to give better and more to the people that I really care about. And those are my customers, my clients, and the people in my life that I care about.
So I think that's an interesting place to start. And my whole thing, episode number 28, everything that I've been talking about, my whole business is really about being unapologetically who you are. And this does come from a place of authenticity for you. And I have to say, I don't work with jerks. And so this is an easy one for me because I'm not going to work with somebody who doesn't want their business to be about connection and not about transaction. So if you're listening to this and you don't believe in this, you can just stop listening now because you're not going to get this episode, because it's about being authentic. It's about sharing your own story. And it fucking amazes me that there's still a few people out there who actually don't think that it's about that. They still think it's about showing up and looking perfect, only sharing other people's comments or other people's stories or things on Facebook. And they never, ever, ever get into what's actually going on in their life. And they don't use it as a testament. And I would never, ever, ever work with somebody like that. I would not work with somebody that I don't know anything about. And social media is a way to do that. It's not just about social media, but it's about, get acquainted calls and networking and quite honestly, just being out in the world and being a genuine human being and writing your email copy and your social media copy from a place of authenticity and vulnerability. And so that is part of who you are. And I would have to say it's 99.9% of my clients that they may struggle with the sharing, but they know that it's the secret sauce.
Yeah, it's totally the secret sauce. And I think for a long time I was living not in a place of integrity because this is how I lived my life, like loving on and hugging on and giving value to like the people that were in my life that I love, my friends, my family. And then when it came to my clientele and like working with them, it was this like hard separation of like, I can't let you know the real me. I can't be a real person. I can't show up on social media. I can't be out there in the world. And for anybody in the Girl Boss group or in Front Seat Life, like, me, I'm a plus size woman. I'm also a personal trainer. I'm also an integrative wellness coach, right? And to show up in that space as authentically, 100% unapologetically who I am was damn hard. It was hard. And it's still terrifying. Like, I do it now, and it's from a place of authenticity. I don't talk about shit that I don't believe in. But you better know that I'm sitting there in front of my camera, hyping myself up, going, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this before I ever hit that play button. Yeah. And what you see might be the 5th take, and I go, oh, it's good enough, right? Because done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And I want you to see that I struggle. I want you to see that I go through exactly what you're going through. And I think about the things that you're thinking about. And that's my true experience. And through that, I can bring to you the tools that I've learned, the resources that I have to enable you to meet your goals in the same way.
Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business.
And I was doing a disservice before when I wasn't showing up as my true self, my authentic, unapologetic me, showing that to the world. And so I feel like there was a disconnect, like I was willing to only go so far, to meet my clients only so far. And it was after I started to step into that space where I was vulnerable, where I shared about my own experience, where I let them see me struggle. And that one's tough.
Yeah.
That I started to build these true connections with people. And gosh, like that led to so much for me. Like my business opened up and it boomed. I shared with you the other day when we met that, and I know I used a word you didn't like. I said, it is impossible for me to do this. What it truly is a miracle for me to be able to do this. To like live in this place of love and care and honor and respect for others and for myself, and to be able to show up in the world and do what I love. And to have people that want to work with me. And I think it was through the process of like showing up, like showing myself, showing that I could be vulnerable, showing the mistakes that I've made, because there have been a lot, and like living in grace with that, and showing people that they could show up no matter where they are in their journey, and I would meet them exactly where they're at. And that has made all the difference. It has made all the difference.
Yeah, podcasts are so interesting because I'm sitting here for a second. I had my arms in the air and I was rooting, and now I'm crying a little bit, and I can relate to that. There's no way that everybody listening right now is not also relating to that. And I want to address a couple of things. First of all, that disconnect and incongruent feeling. So I had my own experience of incongruency, and that's the word that I chose, and you just said disconnect. When I was in graduate school and I was on this path of learning all this new stuff and changing my life and getting just growing and evolving and changing and educating myself. And yet I had this life with this, my husband, and I would go home to him and it was just this unhealthy environment. And I remember that word coming up of incongruent. And it was because I felt shame. I was embarrassed. I had to hide it. I was also still in it, which is part of it too. Like I'm still in this mess. So, what can I say and talk about it? But my gosh, when you talk about yours, and I can feel myself going back to that place of the freedom that came when I stopped pretending like things were fine. And I started to get honest about, I'm fucked up. I am sad. I am a mess. I feel all these feelings. Like I remember somebody saying to me, like when I was doing couples counseling, like, how are you doing couples counseling when you're going through your own divorce? And I'm like, that's a valid damn question. Fuck off, but it's a great question. And it was just like, because it's not perfect. It doesn't mean every therapist has their shit together. It doesn't mean as a personal trainer, you're always perfect in what you're eating and doing. And, as a coach, that it's always that. But it's about showing up and being honest and being transparent. And those words are very powerful. The disconnect and incongruency, I think, translates to the people that we're trying to attract, the clients that we're trying to love and attract and help and to be of service. And do you think then that they feel that? And then where I want to go with this is, once you started sharing your realness, your struggle, talking about being a plus size physical, and not trying to hide that fact, because you weren't on camera for the longest time. I mean, I remember when we first started working together, we had a half a day, and I was like, where are you on all of your social media? Like, there's literally no pictures of you.
You're missing.
You're missing from your own business. And wasn't it part of it? You were like, I'm not sure I want to show myself because there's judgment. But then it switched everything.
To start things off, I was really afraid. Instagram and Facebook world can be really tough. There's a lot of haters out there. There's a lot of people who troll accounts. And I was just afraid of opening myself up to that negativity. And then I thought, you know what? That's what every single person who is my ideal client faces. Afraid to put pictures on social media because they're afraid that their family and friends are going to see it. Maybe they don't want to go to events with family, like holidays, like, oh gosh, I look different than I looked last time. There's going to be judgment. And I was like, I am living in that truth right now of what so many people are going through, what they're experiencing. I'm going to own it. I don't care if somebody says something. Like, I'm just going to show up. I'm going to do it. And you know what? Honestly, I show up. I feel good about who I am. I'm showing up with integrity and I'm living a congruent life. And, you know, like, it's been very rare that somebody has said something. And I think part of it is like, you show up with that confidence and people are like, I don't want to mess with you.
Yep.
I don't want to mess with you.
And if they do, I think you and I have gotten to a level in our business and just personal development wise that we know that actually has nothing to do with us. Like, that's just straight up, like, you know, doing a little Taylor Swift right now on my shoulders, like, shake it off, shake it off. That shit has nothing. And it's the whole, the Brené Brown thing, you know, the daring greatly. And if you haven't watched her Netflix special, you know, her whole story of, you know, going out on stage and doing this incredible TED Talk and all the haters out there, like, you need Botox and you need to lose 20 pounds. And it's like, really, people? Yeah. And so again, we know that it's not about that, but tell us, okay, two things.
Yeah.
Very important things, because everyone listening is like, how in God's name did you just jump in? Like, what was the catalyst to get you to finally do the thing? One. And then two, like, how has it changed the people that you're attracting? So you've 3-timed your business. Mm-hmm. You are working smarter, not harder. It doesn't mean you're doing that many more hours. I mean, I taught you about leveraging and doing group sessions and those kinds of things. But so start with one. Like, how did you just make this leap of like, fuck it, I'm just gonna be me. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, so I reframed it as an act of kindness to myself and to the people who may follow me.
Wow.
Showing up, I think, is an act of love. Listening to people is an act of love. And I'm going to cry, but those are the things in my life that are most important to me, is letting the people that I love know that I see them. I get them. I'm there for them. I'm holding space for them. And if I do not show up, and if I do not show myself, and if I do not share my struggle and my vulnerability in an authentic way, how does anyone ever know that they can do that with me? You know?
Wow. Yep.
So the catalyst was, I just have to jump. And honestly, that was like how I started my business, how I've launched every program that I've done. I got this like gut feeling, right? Gut feeling of like, I just need to do it. I just need to jump. I just need to run and like, you know, into the pool, no toes in, detect the temperature, just right in there. And so that was exactly what I did. And you know what? The world did not blow up. Like, I did not die. Yeah. I did not die. And showing up. And then the catalyst to continue was like the positive reinforcement of that, you know, hearing from people like, you're speaking my language. I'd love to work with you because I've never seen a personal trainer who does what you do and uses the language that you use. And I'd love to come in and work with you.
Yes.
And so it's changed because the people that I reach are my ideal clients.
Yes.
They're people who are into like work on their balance and their strength and their confidence in showing up in the world. And I legitimately, when I do phone calls now with people, this is kind of a funny aside story. Okay, so bear with me for a second.
Awesome.
So a couple of weeks ago, I got a phone call from a woman, and she was like, I'm really interested in coming in to work out with you. Can you tell me a little bit about you? And so I told her, you know, I'm certified through ACSM. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm an integrative wellness coach. I've got my own studio, all this. And she said, well, can you tell me like a little bit more about you? Like, what do you like to do? And I said, well, I like to do triathlons. I like to do all that stuff. But like what I'm focused on is what you like to do. But I also want to let you know that I'm a plus size personal trainer. And she goes, oh, and I said, okay, it's not a problem. You know, if that's a problem for you. And she goes, oh, wait, does that mean that you only work with plus size people? And I said, no, I work with all people. And she said, okay, good. I want to come in and see you.
Oh, wow.
So it was the coolest thing, you know. In that moment, I could have taken what she said as like oh, you don't want to work with me because of my body size or because of where I put my emphasis or my work. And she was like, no, I thought maybe it excluded me, that you only worked with people who are plus size. And it was such a flip.
Yes.
It was such a freaking flip.
Yes.
And all my worries disappeared. I met with her yesterday and she's like the most fantastic person.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it was great. So this has allowed me to attract the people that get me,
Yeah.
and it allows me to better get them.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to them in all things in life. I practice the golden rule, and that applies to the work that I do with people as well. And you've said before, like, you get out what you put in. And like, I put in like tenfold, you know, I just shower people with love. And I think that is something that for a long time was missing from the business that I didn't do. And now in integrity, it's just showering people with that love. That's what they need. I think connection is the biggest component of our success as people in this world.
But you just said something a few minutes ago that I think just exclamation points what you just said, is that this is also what you want.
Yeah.
And so when we're coming from a place in our business of authenticity, being unapologetically who we are, whatever episode it was, episode 30, your message, is sometimes we are our ideal clients.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes it's like, you said it, what would I have wanted to hear? And so it's like, I am almost speaking to myself. It's not showing up and being perfect. It's saying, this is where I'm a mess. This is where I was a mess. I might just be a little bit further along than you. I'm a plus size personal trainer. I've been divorced as a couples therapist, like all of the things that we just have to be transparent and authentic about. But what do we want to hear is likely exactly what our ideal client wants to hear, because then it's not from a place of falsehood or yucky wonky energy. Because I mean, I don't know. This is so bad to say, but I had a coach for a while that I actually don't think she's a very good person. And so you guys have heard me talk about her before. I'm definitely not going to say her name, so don't think I'm going to say it. So you can just stop waiting for me to say I'm not going to throw her under the bus. But in my gut, I don't believe she's a good person. And she is all about the transaction, not connection. And the way that I know that is by watching her. So she says a lot of words that would make you think that she is that way. But as a human being myself, and someone who is very aware of emotions and the way people really are, I would watch her. I would observe her, and her actions did not equate the words that came out of her mouth. And I watched her for a year, and I'm a very, I think, astute observer. And so I then knew that this is incongruent. And that is why I believe it is so freaking powerful for us. If you're an asshole, be an asshole. Like, what's his name?
Gary.
Yes. That guy's an asshole.
He totally is.
And
but
he's
up front, you know?
What's his name again for people listening?
I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes. That guy's a dick. And he just shows up and is a dick. He's not trying to like sugarcoat it and be sweet to you. Like, he doesn't give a shit. And he just owns it that way. I mean, he is like, get over yourself. I'm not going to fluffy talk you or whatever, but he owns it. You know what you're going to get. Like, this woman that I worked with, I kind of just would have preferred her just to be that way instead of it being incongruent. And so I will just say, I think that's a very, very powerful piece, is that whatever we often need to hear and who we actually are, it needs to be congruent. So if you're a dick, be a dick. Probably don't come work with me, but maybe, I don't know, just be whoever you want to be. But there is something about that congruency of that it's often what we actually want to hear and need to hear is also what our ideal clients want and need to hear.
Yeah, I agree. I can share a little story.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so like, years and years and years and years ago, I went through this horrible breakup, and I went to a big box gym, and I was like, I need to get some of this like anger and like grief and all these things out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I went into the gym and I'm like, I'm ready to like get this out. I'm ready to like hit stuff, like, you know? And so I go in, and the personal trainer, like, they give you a tour of the gym. You probably know what I'm talking about, right? And so they give you a tour of the gym, and they're walking me around, and I just want to see everything. I'm ready to get started. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't need to know about all this stuff. Like, just like lead me to the treadmill and stuff I can punch. And so they're like, okay, so obviously you're here because you need to lose weight. So the first thing was that they assumed what my goal was. And I remember that sat with me and it felt awful. And so then the next step was the second part of the tour is we're going to bring you over here to the scale in the center of the gym and we're going to weigh you in front of everyone and use these calipers and all that.
Wow.
This is my first personal training experience, like getting into a gym. And so I'm like, I guess this is normal. First mistake, right? Awesome. So I go and I do this caliper test. They have me do this like fitness test that is designed to beat you down so that you feel so unfit that you feel like you have to buy their packages. So the next thing is that they lead you to the sales department and they're like, wow, based on these scores you got today, like you're hurting. Okay. Like we need to get you in for so much. Also, let's talk about your nutrition. I'm guessing that you should probably be eating 2 bags of salad a night. Just put them in a big bowl, no dressing, just eat that. And I was like, wait. Like my hands are up in front of me right now. We've been talking to Jessica, like, slow your roll.
Yeah.
Like I am here to hit stuff and to work out my body. And you just assumed what my goal is, how I could best accomplish it, what I should be eating. And never once have you asked me anything about who I am, what I want, or why I'm here. Right? It was so that experience informs how I work with people. Mm-hmm. Coming into the gym, my first question is, how are you today?
Yes.
Second question is, what is your energy level today? How are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like checking in on like emotional, spiritual, like how their body is feeling, what their energy level is. Are you fatigued? Like, let's go with that for your baseline. Let's see what can we do today? Is there anything you want to focus on today? And then we go from there. But in that initial appointment with people, I ask, what do you want? How will you know at the end of our time together that you have been successful? Yes. Tell me about what that feels like. And I drive hard for that intrinsic motivation. Like it's not the 20-year high school reunion. It's the intrinsic motivation. Yes. Yeah. And once we find that, their true motivation, like I want to support them in their thing, their important thing that's going to change their life. It's not hey, I think you should eat 2 bags of salad. Let's caliper test you in the middle of the gym. Yeah. It's a completely different dynamic and it's very client focused. Mm-hmm. It's like love-centered and heart-centered coaching. It's about you. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And that's about connection.
Yes.
So when I was a therapist, people would ask me all the time, oh, what's your modality? And how do you work with people? And I'm like, I greet them where they're at.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I have tools in my tool belt, but there's no such thing as some bullshit modality. Like, that's not what it's about. And going back to this coach and the story you just told too, and the kind of the theme of this entire podcast is about connection. And when we are not seen, we cannot connect. And so I will never forget the moment when I stopped working with this woman. I actually ended up paying her $1,000 a month for 6 months, and I never participated again after this moment. I walked into a meeting, and there was hardly anybody in there yet because I'm a J, and I was one of the first ones there. And I walked in, and we were standing right next to each other. And she looked at me, and she looked away. And I thought, first of all, I thought, fuck you. And then I thought, fuck me. Like, why am I so stupid that I am putting my trust, I'm like disempowering myself in this moment to trust somebody that I don't even respect. I don't even respect this person. Yeah. And so there's this, I'm disempowering myself because I'm not even being seen. And you must see that too, like as a personal trainer, just tell me what to do, tell me what to do, tell me what to do, tell me what to do. And there's a part of it is like, yes, we need to be educated, but we also need to like know in our gut and to be empowered. But back to my other point of like, we need to be hizzled. And that, I learned that in graduate school. To be hizzled is to be heard, to be seen for who we are, and then to be loved. So heard, seen, and loved. We're heard, which means you have to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Hear me. Don't tell me to eat 2 bags of lettuce or tell me I need to lose weight. Maybe I don't even want to lose weight. I'm guessing you didn't. I just want to punch some shit right now.
Yes.
You don't even know because you didn't hear me. And then you cannot see me for the powerful, empowered, very clear what I want to do. Like, back the fuck off because I'm about to go punch some stuff. Like, I don't need this. And then if you can't love me for who I am, peace out. Peace out. I am not interested. I do not need your coaching. I do not need your services. But we have to be able to see people for who they are. And that's such a part of connection versus transaction. Like, I tell all my clients, and I learned this years ago, is, people always ask, all my clients always ask, how do you do your get acquainted calls? That's basically a sales call. But I call them get acquainted calls because it's not really a sales call. And I say, I sit on the phone for at least 20 minutes and I just hear them out. Mm-hmm. The biggest mistake you can possibly make is that trainer. Let me tell you all about my services and how I can help you and blah, 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 when it might not even be a good fit. And people just need to be heard. And so I listen and listen and listen and listen. And then I paraphrase. This is fascinating too. I just paraphrase back to them, sometimes paraphrase plus. And they're just like, what's fascinating is all they want to do sometimes is be heard. Yeah. And they say things back to me like, oh, wow, you really heard me. Yep, because I'm actually listening and I actually care. But so often people don't even listen. Mm-hmm. And so they say, wow, like, you really heard me and you really get this. And they get it, I get it, and you get it because we've been there. We've been that person. And so not only am I hearing you, but yes, I get it. And then are you interested in hearing about how we can work together? And quite honestly, some people say, no, I mean, not really anymore, but sometimes, no, I just kind of needed to chat. I'm like, okay, then great. I'll be here if you need it. Or yes, my God, tell me. And then you just close the deal. Because it's about connection. It's not going into how can I close this deal, but how can I connect to this person?
Yes. I think that that's so powerful. And the calls that I have are very similar to what you described. And you're talking to people about what's your goal? What is it that you want? Ultimately, how would you like to feel in your life? Tell me about it. I ask them questions to help them dig deeper, then paraphrase. Then, they ask me about what I offer. I tell them. And they say, well, what would your recommendation be? And my answer is always, well, what do you think? You have authority over your own body and you know it best.
So good.
You have authority over your own body, and I trust that you know your own body best. So I can give you details.
Yes.
One day of exercise per week keeps you at your current level of fitness. Any additional days of exercise per week help you gain towards your goals, whatever they might be. So I can give you that information. I also tell people, thank you so much for meeting with me today. We're going to find out if we're going to work well together. Yeah. If not, I'm so happy to provide you resources for other professionals that might be better suited for you.
And you truly mean that.
And I truly mean that. Yeah, I've sent all sorts of referrals to people, when it just wasn't a good fit. If somebody comes in and they're like, I want someone that's going to yell at me.
You're like, that ain't me, sister.
And make me do 100%. I'm
going to hug you instead.
Yeah, I'm going to hug you instead. I'm going to high five you. I'm going to remember the names of your kids. I'm going to ask you how your gardening went this weekend. I'm going to ask you about your trip to Hawaii and your wedding vow renewal. I'm going to remember all the details about your life and who you are and why what we're doing here is important to you. Yeah. And that is that big sense of connection. But I also wanted to bring up something that I learned from you that has been so paramount to what I'm able to provide. Quick backstory, I learned from the time I was a teenager how important it is to hug your customer, to provide exceptional customer service. And it's never about your product. Yeah. It is never about your product. It is about the person that you're serving. Mm-hmm. It is about them. I worked at Natural Wonders when I was a kid. I was the highest selling sales representative in the mall in Illinois. I worked as a night auditor at a hotel. I worked at Microsoft, Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, Theo Chocolate, and all of these places I did exactly the same thing, and I excelled at each of them. And that was to listen to people, to get to know who who they are, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how I could best support them in that. And one of the things that you've brought to me is this totally like high level layer of what is your personality type, right? I'm an INFP. I cannot serve everyone in an INFP way. But if I figure out what J's need, okay, you need a list of written exercises on the board so that you can be calm and collected going into this, knowing exactly what's coming next. Like, I got you. I'm gonna, support you in that. If I find out that you're a person who has difficulty with like summer versus winter energy, maybe in the winter we don't do our workouts as early in the morning. Yeah. I got you. I support you. I can hear you.
Yes.
And learning about personality types through Myers-Briggs, it's like the icing on the cake and what I'm able to provide to the people that I meet with.
Because it's about them.
It's about them.
Yep.
None of it has anything to do with me.
Nope. No. And it never ceases to amaze me that the clients that are probably the most successful and mine that are the most successful as well is all I'm doing is, it's just fascinating sometimes. All I'm doing is providing information and meeting them where they're at and validating them. Or telling them they're doing something wrong. But a lot of times people just need to get this validation. Like they need permission, right? They need permission to trust themselves. They need permission to be who they are. We all need it. We need to be heard, seen, and loved. It's just back to that whole heard, seen, and loved thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
I needed permission, and I feel like you gave me that permission.
Yes.
I needed permission to acknowledge, and like it's going to make me cry, but I'm good at what I do.
Yes, you are.
I'm good at what I do, and
we just
it's so hard for me to say that.
Yeah. Because we just talked about this the other day.
Yeah,
we had a coaching call, and you literally said, with tears in your eyes then too, like, I'm good at this. Yeah. I'm really good at this.
Yeah, and for years and years, I was just thinking, well, I'm just catching up. I'm just trying to be as good as everyone else. I'm just trying to prove myself. And as a plus-size personal trainer, feeling like I always had to go over and above, do way more than other people in order to prove myself or my expertise in what I do. No, like I think I'm doing okay. And I think that like the hundreds of people that I've worked with and the almost 40 5-star reviews on Yelp point to the fact I'm doing something right. Yeah. And I totally credit your Girl Boss program as a thing that helped me to break that barrier, the thing that was holding me back. But in addition to what you said, like giving people info, meeting them where they're at, giving them permission to be themselves, I think that we also serve as a mirror. Like a mirror or like a roadmap to like, friend, you are playing small. I know what you're capable of, and I'm just going to stand here with this mirror and tell you about how awesome it is until you start to freaking believe it yourself. And I think that's so much of what I do. Like, I see the potential in you. I see the goodness in you. I see what a good person you are. I see you showing up for your family and friends, and I see all that. Why aren't you showing up for you? And I started living it and walking it, and now I help others live it and walk it and just find the strength to be who they really are.
I'm having a moment. We're sitting here together in my home office, and I'm having a moment of watching you. And it's just incredible. It's incredible watching you from how I met you a couple of years ago, and you were so shy and not showing up who you are and hiding. That's the word, not shy. You were hiding. You were hiding. Yes. And the power of you stepping into this, learning, being committed, being open, being vulnerable, being transparent and authentic and open and courageous. Now, not only is amazing to watch you, but then the ripple effect of that is what's incredible. My very first coach that I actually loved, I hated one and I loved one. She talked about this story about sharing your brownies. And that if you never Like you bake the brownies and they're yummy and ooey gooey and they smell delicious. Fabienne Fredrickson is her name, by the way. She's amazing. If you don't ever go share them, like you're doing the world a disservice. And watching you right now, sitting across from you, of having this moment of being a very proud friend and coach is miraculous, because you could have stayed hidden and you didn't. You were courageous and committed, because you could have quit. People quit all the time, but you stayed in. And now, again, the ripple effect of that, you sharing your brownies out in the world, you now get to help hundreds and soon to be thousands of people that then wouldn't have been affected. And then I think about that woman that has daughters that now get to say, you are beautiful, whatever size you are, and you can eat that thing and not feel guilty about it and show up however you are. And the ripple effect of that, you guys, the power of this, it is life-changing. And that one person, this woman sitting across from me right now, can change hundreds of thousands of lives. That's fucking powerful.
Thank you so much. I am deeply, deeply honored to work with the people that I do, and I do not take it lightly. For you to put the safety and the vulnerability of your body into someone's hands and trust that they are going to respect you without judgment, with love, through a safe and efficient and effective workout that is geared exactly towards your goals. Like, I just take that's like going to a doctor or trusting a surgeon. We don't think about it like that. You're just getting a workout, right? But when you are in my hands, I am responsible for you. And I do not take that lightly at all. So it's always such an honor. And I know that the thought process of even stepping through the door is incredibly scary and challenging. And the last thing that we want to be met with is a lecture or someone deciding what our goals are for us.
Yeah.
Or, like just shoving you along like you're just a number, right? So that is what guides me to provide the level of service that I do and the amount of love that I do and the heart-centered coaching that I do. And I love it. And like, I keep pushing forward. I keep wanting to like get the next best thing so that I can share it with the people I work with, like working with Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute, Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, dozens of local physicians and PTs and patients of all varieties, sizes, shapes, abilities, has allowed me to grow and become a better coach over the years. And now being able to step into that and show people that I have that experience, that I can meet you wherever you're at, I'm just so honored.
Yeah.
I'm so honored.
Yeah. And I know you're an introvert, so I'm going to let you ponder on this while I say this, that in closing, I love any like closing thoughts, but I am very, very struck. This is my favorite episode I've ever done, for sure. And it's because we're keeping it real. It's totally authentic. We're connecting. I hope you listeners right now are feeling that. And this is the difference maker. It's the difference maker as human beings. It's the difference maker in our businesses. And it's not always easy to start. But I will say, because I'm a few years more into this than you are, and possibly some of the listeners, is that I have to say it is the biggest piece of freedom I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Is to just be able to show up and say what I want to say, be who I am, be a good person, be a mess, and not have to be incongruent of like, you know this feeling, and listeners, you guys might know this, of like, what do I share on social media, or what do I email to my list? Or, when I meet people, I keep thinking about that coach that I dislike. Like when she shows up and is in front of somebody, she's totally incongruent. And so I wonder the feeling in her body that she must have had of being incongruent versus if any of you listeners end up coming to the Front Seat Life event, or end up working with me privately, I guarantee this is exactly who I am. This is how I will be at the event. This is how I am with Stacy. This is how we were together on Tuesday. This is how I am. And I want that for other people. I want everyone to be able to be unapologetically who they are in their life, in their relationships, and in their businesses, because that level of freedom of not having to mute yourself, oppress yourself, suppress yourself, or what's the word I want? Like editing yourself in any way is, I don't know if there's more freedom than that.
I don't think so. And I can, sitting here, I can testify that this is the real Jessica. It's been 2 years that we've been getting to know each other. Yeah, always in alignment with, like, she just, when she says, I'm just going to be real here, or I'm just going to be 100% her.
Yeah, which I don't know why I do that, because every time I say that, I'm like, well, as I always am, as if I'm not going to be. That's so funny.
But I feel like that is like your, like, silence crowd. Yeah. Let me drop some realness on you.
So funny.
Yeah, like, get ready, because I'm about to drop a whopper. It might have an F-bomb in it.
Yeah. Obviously, always. I have to say this too. I wrote this down earlier, that I am very, very proud of the fact that Stacy has not only been a client and now stepping into this crazy, amazing business, and 3 timesing the amount of money that she's making, and 3 timesing the amount of people that she's getting to make an impact on their lives because of some of the things that, I've been able to teach you. But you're also now part of the Front Seat Life team. And I'm not going to say that that's going to be everybody. Like, I think a lot of people are like, yay, I want to do that too. But it's just so in alignment. I mean, you are so in alignment with what I believe, and I trust you wholeheartedly with my clients. And so you now are such an easy progress coach to have. And it's just a delight. I mean, it's a moment of when, I get to be very proud of, like, oh my God, I doubled my team, and how is this happening? And wow, where's this money going to come from? And all of these kinds of things. But it also is just, I believe, like, bringing like-minded people together. And so, this is never a sales pitch, but if this is like landing with you, we're about to have an event. This episode, I think, is at the end of August. So 2 weeks from the airing of this episode, it's an opportunity to come to the Front Seat Life event, but it's also an opportunity to potentially join the Lady Boss group, because we're going to be starting at the beginning of October. So quite honestly, even if you can't make it to the event, this is an opportunity. But I'm just very clear, like, this is what we're about. It's about coaching you in a way that is who you are. I'm never going to tell Stacy to do something one way and not, and the same exact thing for Nadia, who's an ENFP, but you're an INFP, and you guys have different tracks and you have different ways that you work together. So with that being said, anything in closing about just connection and this track that you've been on?
First of all, you need to go to that event or get signed up for the Girl Boss group, because they legitimately 100%, Jessica knows my story. Anybody who attended the event last year knows my story. I have come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
And Jessica and the things that she teaches, her realness allowed me to show up in my life and be real and talk about what was happening for me, and completely changed and honestly saved my life. So thank you for that. Some things that I wanted to share with you in closing are things that are really important to me in my business, and you may find that they're really important to you as you move forward and you become more in alignment with who you are as a person. One is always come through. Always come through for people. Don't leave them hanging. Like always come through. If you're going to tell them that you're going to show up, you show up. Always follow up with those people. Remind them that you care, that you were there with them, that you experienced the same thing that they did, and you want to know how it went for them. Always be present in the moments that you are with your people. You know, like when we're in our zone of genius, that flow, that is money. That feels like the best thing in the entire world. And when I'm with people, when I'm working one-on-one, I'm in flow and I'm completely present. My attention is on them. And across the board, people tell me that is why they keep coming back. Is because I see them, I recognize them, I'm with them, I'm walking through it with them, and they know that they can rely on me. And another is to just show that you care. And everyone makes fun of me because I'm like the cards person and the emails and like the, you know, and you might see it as me being a cheerleader, but it's me sharing in my introverted way, my way of connecting. I am a much quieter person when you meet me in person than I am on Facebook, you know, but it allows me to interact with people, to show them that I care, that I love them, that I see them. And I think that that's really important. And for us introverts, it can be a really great way to show up in the world without having to attend to all of the networking functions and doing all of that stuff. Yeah. So it has been such a changer for me. And I think the biggest and best thing that you can do for you is to show up in your own freaking life and in your business. Don't be afraid to show who you are, because you will attract exactly the people that will best be benefited working with you, because you're amazing. Yeah. You just need to find the people that recognize that, accept that, and will be best benefited by it.
Yeah. Yeah. All about attracting, not chasing.
Yes.
And the only way we can do that is by showing who we really are.
Yeah, and that's the best way to connection, right? Yeah. The other stuff is, I'm going to throw this content at
or let me, let me, you know, manage this or tell you what to do or like pontificate. I hate pontificators, like the pontificating. Stop with that and connect. And I love that the people just got here to mow the lawn and we're ending. So the funniest part about this is Thursdays are my dedicated day to podcast. And I just moved into this new home. I love every single thing about it, except the fact that the lawn people come on Thursdays. And when I first moved in, it was winter, or it was September, but then it soon came winter, and they would only come once a month. Well, now that it's summer, they come every damn Thursday. And so it's just hilarious. So as we're finishing up, you can hear the lawnmower outside, and it's perfect. As somebody told me the other day, they were listening to Oprah's podcast and they could hear her dogs barking in the background. So if Oprah can have dogs, I guess I can have a lawnmower.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stacey, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you. It truly is amazing to watch you. And part of the reason, truly in closing, part of the reason I wanted to have you on here specifically is I know that listeners hear themselves in you. And that is everything. Because again, it's not about pontificating. It's not about me telling them things. I want them to hear it and see themselves in you, knowing that they can do it too. So listeners, you can do it too. You can do it too. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing. All right, everybody, I have a confession to make. I have a new obsession, and that obsession is reading your ridiculously wonderful, loving, amazing reviews on iTunes. I love them. None of this even matters without all of you. So as a thank you, each week I will be reading one review on air and calling out your review with your name or your iTunes handle. So here's how it's going to go. You're going to go to Instagram and follow me at Front Seat Life. When you hear your name called out on the podcast, you are going to send me a DM with your address and say, oh my gosh, you just read my review. And I or my team will be sending you some Front Seat Life swag. We've got books and we've got tank tops and we've got journals and we have these adorable pink swells. So we will be choosing from the goodie bag and sending it out as a thank you. So thank you in advance. And I am so deeply honored to have the opportunity to thank you back.
Hey, Front Seat Lifers. This is not Jessica. This is James. And this is a review takeover. I'm the guy who's lucky enough to hear every single second of this show. Some of the show that you do not get to hear because as the podcast producer and editor, I get to trim the little bits that don't quite make it to the show. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I work on a lot of different podcasts, and I can honestly say that I really appreciate how Jessica has been able to use the power of voice to convey such an important and life-changing message. You know, that it's okay to be your authentic self. And when you do that, you'll be living your best life. And also that it's okay for others to be who they are, their authentic selves. Now, I tell anyone I know who might enjoy or get something out of the Front Seat Life podcast. I tell my friends, I tell colleagues, I've told my mom, who's now a fan, and I find it's easy to turn them into fans as well. Why? Because the show is real. It's raw. And it touches important corners of everyone's lives, helping you, the listener, find more peace, love, and happiness in a world which often seems a bit more challenging than it should be. It's a joy and an honor to work on this show. I love it so much. And I can only give it 5 stars because I can't give it 6. All right. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Wait. Do I still get some swag? Pink swell? Come on.
From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.